Working with Julianne Moore is absolutely such an incredible experience. I felt like I was in the best acting masterclass that I could possibly be in, especially when you're doing such dramatic and crazy scenes like that. But it's, as an actor, being able to have characters that kind of let you explore crazy parts of yourself, I really enjoy. And Claire definitely touched a very deep part of me.
Wonderful, really surprising relationship story that also happens to be a thriller. So it was sort of my two favorite things. I like, as an actor, I love relationships. As an audience, I love a thriller.
Brad's writing is really rich. It has like complex adult themes, and it's got these great characters. So I was kind of moved by the script. And I found that central relationship between mother and daughter so complex and sort of difficult, but also heartening. And it's very tense. You just kind of rip through it. And to get all of those things, like the themes, and to be affected by it, and for it to be tense all in one script, is really rare.
Well, that's the great joy of having actors like that. You don't have to do a ton of work. They're so, they're such pros. They're so talented. They've done it. They've done it so many times now. I think when you have actors at that caliber, you trust them. When they bring you ideas or notes, you listen to them because they know what they're talking about. And, it was just such a joy and a blessing to have such amazing actors who are really passionate about the material. So it was really a gift.
I don't want to say it was difficult, but when I got to horseback ride, and for me the hardest part was having to actually rap. I didn't want to rap because I fell in love with the horses, and I was like, I know I only have one scene where I get to ride horses, so I really wanted to keep doing it, so that was hard.
She's such a wonderful young actress. Her work ethic is insane. She's so committed. She's so emotionally available. She was a really, really wonderful partner.
He is absolutely just fantastic. He has such a vision for what he wants to bring to the audience, and his storytelling through his characters, and it was just so rooted in relationships. It was just beautiful seeing it through his eyes. And whenever we would talk about Claire, we started talking about this YouTube series, and it was about this guy that would go and interview a bunch of homeless people from Skid Row. And we would just watch and study all these different characters and find different ways that would influence Claire.
A lot of it was in the script. It just the emotional logic was there. And so spend a lot of time working with actors individually, just so that we could sound each other out and make sure our ideas are in sync about the character. Doesn't mean that we need to agree on everything. In fact, we might have differences of opinion, and we want to try it a few different ways, and that there's something to discover on the day. And so, there was a lot of prep work done in that regard. Particularly with Sydney, we spent a lot of Zoom calls speaking to each other about Claire's addiction and how she got to that place, and how much she's just lost, how much she's manipulating her mother. Julianne, I spoke to her about, it's a question that we didn't really want to land on the answer, but how heroic is her character, or how much is she just the victim of abuse? And that's a kind of really fuzzy line, and that we couldn't find an exact answer. There was something appealing about that.
I think Michael's he's just a great filmmaker. First of all, he was very calm. We had sort of one disaster after another. We were shut down by the strike. We were shut down by smoke. We had lightning things that shut us down. He was always patient. He's always so capable. He had a kind of a great view of the movie and what he wanted to achieve, and a real understanding of human behavior.
Well, that's the great joy of having actors like that. You don't have to do a ton of work. They're so, they're such pros. They're so talented. They've done it. They've done it so many times now. I think when you have actors at that caliber, you trust them. When they bring you ideas or notes, you listen to them because they know what they're talking about. And it was just such a joy and a blessing to have such amazing actors who are really passionate about the material. So it was really a gift.
I'm excited to see what people think is going to happen in Echo Valley. I don't think that they know.